There's a misconception that we don't exist, that somehow our ability to excel at the highest level of our industry is limited, that overcoming barriers as a woman of color would be insurmountable. But what would happen if we decided to venture out on our own despite everything we're up against? I'll tell you. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Angelina Davis, a healthcare consultant, consulting coach, high performance fanatic, wife, and proud girl mom. I help transform female professionals into thriving solo consultants. And just like you, I'm wearing all the hats and doing all the things. So this podcast is to empower the busy female professional to move past fear to start and grow a successful consulting business, despite the obstacles you may encounter. We'll dive deep into consulting practice, business strategy, mindset, and more. So grab your cup of coffee or tea if that's your thing, and let's get started. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I am your host, Dr. Angelina Davis, and I'm so glad you joined me again for this episode because we are going to switch things up for the upcoming weeks and begin to dive a little bit deeper into this whole concept of social selling. Yes, we are going to talk about how you can use your social media platform to really market your consulting services. And if you're wondering where in the world is this coming from, why is she talking about this on a consulting podcast? Well, guess what? It's because if you tune back into episode 7, I told you that one of the things that I predict and forecast for the future of this year in 2022. Listen to me. I said 2020. I cannot believe how fast time is flying. In 2022 is the fact that social media will really begin to be a huge component of how we are selling and marketing our services because so much business is moving online due to the pandemic. And as we respond to that shift in our society and how we are having to navigate some of these changes in terms of how we typically would meet our potential clients and gain prospects and leads, we have to change our mindset from what we would typically do in the traditional space to what we now have to move into as we think about online selling, online marketing, and online business growth. And so social selling is part of that. And if you're wondering what social selling actually is, it is really the practice of using a brand's social media channels, whether that is LinkedIn or Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, to connect with prospects and then begin to develop a true connection with them. This is your opportunity in that space to really engage with potential leads and do that more authentically. What you'll find is that networking and relationship building is occurring in the online space more readily because of, like I stated before, the COVID-19 pandemic. 4.2 billion people worldwide are active on social media. 4.2 billion. So that means that this is a perfect space to really introduce yourself into the market. And it's definitely a perfect time to begin to prioritize social selling because listen here, it works. If you look at statistics, social selling leaders actually get better results. I pulled this off of LinkedIn, and this is technically statistics from LinkedIn as a platform, but it definitely applies to Facebook, Instagram, and all of the others in a similar way. Is that social selling leaders created 45% more opportunities than their peers who were not showing up in the social space. Also, social selling leaders were 51% more likely to reach their quota, and 78% of social sellers actually outsell their peers who do not show up on social media. So, bottom line, social selling works. Social media is a place where we need to show up, and definitely it is going to be an avenue where you can grow your business. And so that's why we're going to have this conversation and many more. Now, I want to share with you a little test that I did very recently, and it's something that I really pride myself in because I like to practice what I preach. For business purposes, I was not on LinkedIn. I have a LinkedIn profile for other reasons and in my professional space as a healthcare consultant. But for Excella Consulting, I did not have a full LinkedIn presence because I was focusing on one particular platform, which for me was Instagram. And the reason I like to focus on Instagram is because of the free flow nature of the platform, the fact that many of my prospects and potential clients are there on Instagram at some point in their daily journey. Also, it's a place for many people to relax and be more laid back when it comes to their personal development and their growth. And for the purpose of coaching in particular, this was a wonderful platform for me. It has been a very lucrative platform for me. Now, when it comes to consulting, most often we focus on LinkedIn as our primary platform because if you are gearing your services toward the business to business or B2B space, that's where the bulk of many of those relationships are built and those various transactions are made. So you can do this on a number of different platforms. Some people use Facebook, again, depending upon how you are utilizing your creativity, even using something like TikTok or even YouTube can be very beneficial. Sometimes we use multiple platforms as well. Definitely with YouTube being a search engine, that can be very helpful. But my point is that I was primarily on Instagram and I decided that I was going to build a LinkedIn presence and I wanted to do that completely from scratch. Meaning that I did not want to tell anybody about this. I just wanted to test this out. I wanted to go all in and try my best to build an account from 0 followers and connections and see what would happen. And so about 4 months ago, I started this. I did not tell a soul whatsoever. And actually, when I started, I was a little bit nervous to be so transparent because I was afraid of looking like a beginner. I knew I wasn't a beginner. I knew I had a lot under my belt. I had an established business. I had been practicing as a healthcare consultant for over 7 years. I had been in practice as a clinical pharmacist for over 15 years. And I did not want to look like I had no connections. I had nothing to lean back on. I had nothing to pull from in terms of a presence actively on the platform. But I did not let that stop me. And the reason why I wanted to do this way is because I know oftentimes this is a huge limiting belief that many of us have, that when we're starting out on a platform, no matter which platform it is, that we are concerned about how we look being a beginner. Because let's be honest, being a beginner is messy. It is very messy, meaning that your messaging is usually not 100% the way that you desire it to be or that it should be in order to attract your prospects or potential clients. Also, you're going to make mistakes. The video content that you start making on day 1 is not going to look like the video content that you're making on day 365. Things are going to evolve. They're going to grow. Your images are going to get crisper. Your messaging is going to get better. The way that you're engaging with your audience is going to elevate over time. But we have to start at that messy place, which is the beginning. And because of that, it keeps a lot of people from really showing up fully in the social media space. And so what I wanted to do as a coach is to show up on a platform without any reliance on my network that I had built professionally over the years, because I wanted to recreate a space that may resemble someone who may be walking onto a platform with absolutely no understanding, knowledge of that platform, as well as no connections or no followers, no audience. And I wanted to prove that even with less than 100 followers, that I could still land high ticket clients through attraction marketing without pushy sales techniques, because that's what I teach. And so if that's what I'm teaching and helping others with, I needed to be able to prove that I could do the same and not rely on my foundation. Because that's one pet peeve that I often have, is that when you're working with various, whether it's a coach or a mentor who's sharing their advice and who's helping you along, oftentimes they are starting from a point where they reach a certain, I would say, foundational level, and then they begin to grow beyond. And so they're beginning to teach you the strategies that they use that eventually worked. But what you're not seeing oftentimes are all those strategies that failed and how they went from ground zero to, I would say, that foundational set point. But I wanted to be able to show that I understood what it felt like to grow from absolutely no followers and to begin to build this platform out. And so that's what I did. I did not tell a soul. I focused on just posting content. I only did this probably, I would say, 2 to 3 times a week. I just repurposed some of the information and some of the posting that I did on my Instagram platform to LinkedIn. And we can talk about, repurposing content and how you would do that from platform to platform, possibly in an upcoming episode. But I did that. And so it was not a huge burden or lift to begin to start building content on that platform. But let's be honest, all of that content was not well aligned at first because I had to learn what worked, what people wanted to see, what began to resonate. But over that time of posting consistently, within that 4-month period, and really it was closer to 3 months by the time I began to post consistently, I was able to not only begin to build this audience, but I was also able to land high ticket clients that way using this particular platform within that 4-month period. So what I can now say is that if you put this effort in, you will see a return on your investment for the time that you are committing and that you are dedicating to the effort. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to share this with you, because I think no matter where you are along your journey, it's a wonderful opportunity to really step into a new space. Maybe you've been thinking about starting that YouTube channel to be able to educate and spread more educational content. Maybe you have been considering how you can show up differently on LinkedIn and really switch to creator mode and do more things that will draw more business other than just showing up and making cold sales or sales through messaging. There are a lot of opportunities out there for you to really capitalize on. And so my hope is that as we begin this conversation, that you'll be able to dive a little bit deeper into your creativity, as well as your ability to really connect with people in an authentic way and drive and build the business that you want. Are you a female solo consultant or expert in your field who desires to build and grow a highly profitable consulting practice? Or are you finding it difficult to build your business and expand your presence in your industry to generate the revenue you desire? If so, my signature program, Expand to Excel, was created with you in mind. It's a 12-week, one-on-one curriculum-based coaching program developed to help you create and implement a personal strategy to build and grow a highly successful and profitable business as a solo consultant, no matter the industry. So visit www.excellaconsulting.com to learn more and to schedule your next step call. So one of the biggest pushbacks I hear and that I get commonly is, I don't really like social media. That's typically what most people say. And I get it. I get it. It may not be the best use of your time always, and it definitely can be a negative place in some respect, especially when you think about trolls that like to come along and ruin everybody's day. But I want to let you know that that's few and far between. And so that's something that typically in your space in consulting, you will not have to really worry with and worry about. If you do, block them and keep moving on. But I want you to just ask yourself this question. Do you like making money? Because if you do, then I really want you to begin to shift your perspective when it comes to social media. Because this is the thing, you don't have to spend all day on social media in order to make it work for you. You don't have to spend all of your time creating content. Like I just mentioned, I use the process of repurposing in order to show up consistently on LinkedIn when I switch to that platform. You can also do the same thing if you have a current blog. You can take those longer articles and then break those down into smaller bits and pieces to then use effectively on social media. So there are ways that you can shortcut and help yourself show up more consistently and use a very simple approach that will allow you to generate still massive results. Think of social media as free marketing. Free marketing. And I think that allows us to really see social media in a different light, because you're not just on there shooting the breeze and looking at the latest meme or video that someone spent all night making because they were bored and in their bed. But you are actually using it for a purpose. And when we think about the purpose of free marketing, we can't really get frustrated by the platform and how it works. I know oftentimes we don't like social media because of the algorithms, and we feel like no matter how hard we work, we're not able to reach the people that we want to reach on the platform. But remember that the platform was not made or built to help you build your business. They're in business for themselves. So when we really remember that and keep that in perspective and know that they are building, whether it's Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, for the purpose of building their business, then we pretty much are hijacking their system. That's what we're doing. We're trying to hijack their system and use it to our advantage. And when we think of it that way, it keeps you from being frustrated with the algorithm, right? Because this algorithm is not out to get you. It's not out to get you at all. It's out to make money for the person who invented it. But what you're going to do is actually use their system and use the knowledge that you have about how their system works to your advantage in order to get a free message out into the world that will help you change lives, that will help you make an impact, a huge impact on your industry. That is how I want you to see social media. So instead of you thinking about it as a waste of time or a waste of brain cells, I want you to think of it as a source of opportunity, a way for you to utilize a tool that is absolutely free to your advantage to generate thousands and thousands of dollars. And when you think about it that way, I guarantee you it will make you much happier to show up on social media when you need to and to do that effectively. And then I want you to really think about how you can take a very simple and straightforward approach. Do not overcomplicate things. There is no one way or one set algorithm to make social selling work for you. There is a number of ways that have been shown to be beneficial for others. There are things that you can tap into and tips that you can use to help you grow and find a system that works for your particular business and your situation. But there is no one size fits all. And once you stop looking for a one size fits all approach and lean into what you need to really grow and expand your presence in the online space, it's going to be much easier for you to show up. So maybe consistent for you is not going to be daily. Maybe it's 2 or 3 times a week if you're on LinkedIn. That's more than enough. That's more than the vast majority of other businesses that are on LinkedIn. I want you to start somewhere. I want you to think about how and where you can start somewhere. And I want you to begin to lean heavily into that space now. We're at the beginning of the year, we're at the beginning of 2022, and it's time for us to really make our move and take advantage of this opportunity. Social media is something that we didn't have in the past. So when I think about when I started even in consulting, that was not something I could lean on. It's not something I could utilize. But now you can use Twitter, you can use LinkedIn, you can use all of these various platforms to get your message out there into the world and to take on larger companies, to take on more seasoned consultants to really make a name for yourself. That's a blessing. That's an opportunity. That is an opportunity to take advantage of something that has never been there before. So I want us to show up differently in this online space and really think about it that way. Think about the privilege that we have to show up and utilize a tool for free to make thousands and thousands of dollars, to build wealth, to make an impact, and to build a legacy. That's it. That's all. That's what I want you to think about. And what I am going to do is bring you content over the next few weeks that's going to help you along that journey. And it won't just be me talking. It is going to be other experts, other professionals in consulting and beyond that are able to help you grow your presence online. Okay? So I want you to tune back in with me. Join me again here week after week so we can continue this conversation definitely for these early months of the year. And I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation. I hope I've given you something to think about. I really hope that you are thinking about showing up more fully and leaning into this social media space, because I guarantee if you do, you will not regret it and you will see your consulting business grow as a result. So with that being said, I will talk to you again very soon. Take care. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to leave your review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and share it with a friend. We're on a mission to increase the success and longevity of women in consulting, and you can help us do that. Also, I love to hear from you, so let's connect at Dr. Angelina Davis on Instagram or LinkedIn. And don't forget to visit excelatconsulting.com for more information to support your consulting journey. Until next time, take care.